Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to take chapter 3 of Sons and Sons and Lovers, by the way. The casting of Moral, the taking on of William. As you remember that we had a lot of conflicts and battles in chapter 2. In chapter 3, things became rather different. We have the breadwinner is getting sick, which is Walter Morrell. His temper was unbearable. He was ill, and like all my miners, he was a great love of medicine. So he often bought himself medicine, but then he became seriously ill. So Mrs. Morrell had to nurse him, and she thought he was the worst patient imaginable because in spite of all things, bad things, relationships between them, he still's a breadwinner. And he getting sick, she never wanted him dead. Because if he gets sicker and dies, how can she afford for her children? But here, D.H. Lawrence concentrate on very important aspects in miners' lives. First, here he's saying that because of the bad conditions that miners suffer from, they get ill all the time, but they don't have insurance. That's one. The second thing, that neighbors were very good to her. They give them meals. They come to her house and do her household chores for her. Some of them will take the baby from her to help her because she was already sick, as you remember, after giving birth to Paul. But even with the help of the neighbors, it was not every day that neighbors helped. She had to nurse the baby and husband, clean, cook, and to do everything. She was quite worn out, but she did everything everyone wanted her to do. But this matter made her cast off her husband. The weeks passed and Moral became better. His health regained. And during his illness, his wife had spoiled him a little, and he loved that feeling that his wife is taking care of him. She is providing him for food. So he started faking to be sick, so that his wife would take care of him. Sometimes he would pull a band over his head and pull down the corners of his mouth, looking and shammed pain that he did not feel, but there was no deceiving her. She smiled to herself at first when she saw that he was faking illness to get her attention, but then she scolded him sharply. There was a halt in their relationship. They were quiet for some time, and there was peace. You can see them as he's reading her newspaper and she's sitting silently. During this time, her thoughts turned to William. Do you remember how we talked about Oedipus complex, how she is changing her love for her husband with the love of her elder son, which is William? Here, D.H. Lawrence is concentrating on this. He's showing you how she feels towards her son. William, uh, he already was getting a big boy. He was top of his class, and they told her that his masters told her that he's the smartest one in school. She saw him as a man, young, full of vigor, making the world glow again for her. So, uh, one day she felt a sort of emptiness. William, he was filling her house with everything that she wants from a husband. Her son is doing for her. She loved taking care of him, bringing him food, bringing a cup of tea and everything. Suddenly, uh, he's William D.H. Lawrence is showing you that Moral is sitting there quite alone, having nothing to think about. He was feeling uncomfortable because he sees his wife dedicating every minute of every hour or every day of the week to her elder sons and ignoring him. His soul would reach out in its blind way to her and find her gone. He felt sort of emptiness, almost like a vacuum in his soul. He was unsettled, he was restless. Soon he could not live in that atmosphere. Here, he's showing you how Walter was jealous of his sons and how he was trying to bring back his wife to his life, but it was in vain. So he went to bed early. And she enjoyed her life. To herself, working, thinking, and living, casting him away, concentrating on her children. Of course, because if the father was sick, and then after he gained health, there was a quiet period between them. And the fruit of this little piece was another child. His name was Arthur. He was a plump, pale child. He was quiet. He had heavy blue eyes. Also, he has a slight knitting of the brows, just like Paul, as we see in chapter 2. The last child was also a boy. He was fair and he was bony. Uh, and she received him the same manner as she received Paul. She was sorry because she gave birth to him, mainly because of economic reasons, because she cannot pay for him, she cannot afford for him, and she did not love her husband. But it was not because she did not like the infant itself. They called the baby Arthur. He was very pretty. He had gold curls, just like his brothers. He loved his father from the first, but uh, his father also abused him as he abused all of his children. But he mainly focused his abuse on William. He was especially abusive of William. Here, D.H. Lawrence also, the chapter is mainly dedicated to William and his relationship with his mother, but every now and then he takes a small peek at the other boys, especially the boys. You can hardly see Annie or know anything about her. The concentration on all the boys, and the mother was proud of having to be a mother of boys. Paul, meanwhile, uh, sorry. Meanwhile, William grew bigger and stronger and more active. Paul always was rather delicate, quiet, slimmer. He was after his mother like her shadow. He was usually active and interested, but sometimes he would have fits of depression. Then the mother would find the boy of 3 or 4 crying on the sofa. Paul always feel that his mother does not love him as much as she loves William. That's why he has depression at the age of 3. Can you imagine that? So she was a proud mother of her son. He went to a night school and he learned shorthand, and he was doing everything good. uh, she thought that he can do everything a decent man could do. He can dance, he can learn, he can do anything a decent man can do. And every time she looked at him, he told, "Look, mother." He gives her all the prizes that he win because she was his queen and he was her king. But then she noticed that there's something different with her William. He loves women and girls, uh, and he loves collecting them like flowers. He like their how they look and what they do, but he likes collecting them, as a trophies more than as a spouse or a partner in his life. So one day, one of the girls came to his house asking for William. The mother dismissed her and she told him, you found her in a dance. That means she's not a lady. She's a mere girl, and he's not home. She always dismisses his girlfriends because she's jealous of them, and we see that William describes his girlfriends as flowers because they find them beautiful, decorative, yet he's not connected to them as people. He's careless of their emotions, unlike Paul. William developed a strange love and passion for dancing. He used to dance all night. He go to all balls that has dancing, but at the same time he comes back and he reads a lot and study. He works in the morning, dance in the evening, and reads all night. His mother was scared for his health, and she thought that he could not do everything at the same time. She told him, dance if you want to dance, my son, but don't think you can work in the office and then amuse yourself then study on top of all. You can't. The human frame won't stand it. Do one thing or the other. Amuse yourself or learn Latin, but don't try to do both. William did not listen to her. He dedicated himself completely to studying and to make something of himself until one day he got a great job, but in London, not next to her. It never occurred to him that she might be more hurt at his going away than glad at his success. She felt here great depression and disappointment when her leaving. Almost she lived by him. She liked to do things for him. She liked to put a cup of tea for him. See, this passage is very important to show you how she dedicated her life to him. Okay, few days before his departure, he was reading his love letters to his brother while his mother cooking dinner. He told her, I have a love letter from this girl, and I have this girl who loves me, and I have that and that. And it shows you that Paul did not agree. He told him, women are not a collection. They are not a flower you should put in a vase. You have to concentrate on one of them. William did not agree. So here we have a pin on the name of Paul because Paul is named after a saint, as you know, and his behavior is a kind of saintly here. William, on the other hand, here is showing off his love for women. The next day, William left to London, leaving his mother heartbroken for the departure of her favorite son. So this is the summary of chapter 3. I'll hope to see you in chapter 4.